Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be an overview of the new makeup releases that have been announced in the past few weeks. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. I do this video once a month where I like to come on here and go over some new makeup releases that have been announced. And there were quite a few exciting releases that were announced right on the cusp of me filming my other video, so I didn't quite manage to put them in the previous video that I did. So some of these are from like early June, but I always have to film these a little bit in advance because I don't have time to like film them and like edit the same day. So there's always a bit of lag between me filming the video and posting it. So that's why if you were missing some releases last time, those are going to be mentioned today for sure. So rest assured, I always come back to it and I always make sure to feature them at another point in time if I do happen to miss something in one of these videos. Yes, lots of stuff has been announced, so let's just get to it. But before we do that, we all know it by now, I have some preferences. Because of my skin tone, I just have to make sure that things are catered to what actually works for me. And I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone, so that sometimes makes makeup shopping a little bit differently than most people. I also really enjoy trying makeup. I've been a makeup reviewer for more than a decade, so that also means that I have some strong opinions. I love trying out eyeshadow palettes, Essence and Catrice, and I love getting the use out of my makeup. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, then definitely consider subscribing and joining the Snow Angel family. Yes, new makeup releases. I usually do these top 5, bottom 5 style, but there is so much I need to mention. We're just gonna breeze through it in whatever order I have it saved in my Instagram overview, because I find all of these things on Insta, in case you didn't know. Sometimes people ask me, where do you find this? Instagram. Just follow a few accounts. Nomad announced a new palette. It's not that new anymore. I think they're about to drop something else in the next few weeks. They had an announcement on their Instagram the other day that they had some exciting things coming for summer later in July. So they have is this the Majestic Kingdom eyeshadow palette? I think it is. And this is like one out of so many releases, which is a neutral color story with greens. And the reason why I'm going to say no to this is not because I don't like Nomad. I really do enjoy Nomad eyeshadow palettes. They're not my favorite, but I think they do some interesting things in terms of color stories, and they definitely have some cool things to offer. But this one, I just bought myself a Glam Shop palette, which is their new green tone palette, which is what? A 9-pan with warm tone neutrals and a bunch of greens. So I don't need this. Sorry. Then a palette that made me do a double take for sure. It's the new LH Cosmetics Aim Higher eyeshadow palette. This, everybody knows, I love a cool tone color story, so I actually got questions from people saying, are you gonna try this? And part of me wants to try it. It seems to have some like cooler tone browns, some grays, a black, and then it seems to have a yellow, but that yellow shade is actually a sheer topper. So I think it can work pretty nicely. Here's the thing though. The LH Cosmetics formula, I'm not sure I like it. I actually bought the Daybreak palette. I completely forgot to put it in a haul I did recently. But I do own that, and it's actually slated for the to try pile in August. So I will be trying the Daybreak palette, which is the previous 9-pan they came out with. And I've swatched it, and I didn't love it. And especially for how expensive it is, because these are, I think on Lyko it was 44 euros. Which for a 9-pan, like this is more expensive than a Huda Beauty palette, and it's roughly the same size, but I wasn't impressed with the quality. So I'm still hoping, I'm still like keeping my hopes up, and I'm still thinking if I use this with brushes, it's probably going to be a very different deal. That's what I still hope, because finger swatches can only tell us so much really. So I'm still holding out. And if I like my Daybreak palette, then this I'm gonna buy at some point in the next couple of months, because it does look like something I might really like. But if I don't like the formula, then I'm not gonna be making this mistake and paying that amount of money. So that's why I'm a bit on the fence about this one. The color story is very appealing to me, but what I have tried from the brand so far has not impressed me too much. There's a lot of eyeshadow palettes in this roundup. Another cool tone color story. This is the Be Perfect Gravity palette, and people thought I had actually bought this already. I hadn't even discussed it in a video like this. It was released right on the brink of me filming that other video, and I just didn't manage to put it in my previous one. Again, this looks like something I'm gonna like. It's a cool tone color story, but it is quite gray toned, so I'm not sure I'm gonna love it. I've never tried Be Perfect as a brand though, so this is one that's definitely on the maybe pile. I'm just not sure I need it, and the reason why I don't think I need it is because it may be too similar to a palette I have from Glam Shop, which is their Cashmere palette. This is definitely giving me similar vibes. Plus, it reminds me a lot of the Makeup by Mario Ethereal palette, and I'm actually secretly hoping that that's gonna come back because it's still on the website. It's still listed as sold out. You can still add your information to be notified when it comes back, even though some people have told me that was limited edition and it's not coming back. But the website gives me the impression that it might come back at some point. So I'm like, do I want to hold out for that? Or do I want to try this? Because this is pretty affordable. It's only $25. Be Perfect is pretty easily available because I believe they are a UK-based brand, so I know I can get my hands on it. So this has a lot of pros for me. It definitely does. But I'm not entirely sure I desperately need it. I'm still on the fence. What do you guys think? More eyeshadow. Anastasia Beverly Hills, the New Cosmos palette. That's what it's called. And this is the third one that Anastasia does in this kind of layout with the square pans that are a little bit bigger. It's just so warm toned. It's got 6 mattes, 6 shimmers, and some of those shimmers are also multi-chromes, I believe. There's definitely a little bit more sparkle in these, which I'm sure is why this has everyone going gaga for it, but I don't like the mattes. They are pretty dark if you look at it in a swatch on fair skin. That's the picture I'll be popping up on the screen. They look pretty dark and they're very, very warm toned. And then we get this one very random blue tone shimmer. There's literally one shade that appeals to me, and it's that Mercury shade, which is this like taupey sort of vibe. That's the only shade that truly appeals to me. Maybe if I were to look at this in real life, it might still sway me. But overall, I don't think I need this. Natasha Denona Yucca palette. This is definitely something where I'm like, it's got a couple of really, really stunning shades. It's got a couple of really nice taupey leaning shimmers, especially the shimmer department. I am very pleased with what this palette looks like. It's not green enough for it to be a warm tone palette with green because it only essentially has one green. But it's got orange, which is not my favorite. So while it has a couple of stunning shades, I think I would really like this as far as a warm tone palette goes. I think I'm gonna love this, but I really don't need this in my life, and I just reorganized all of my Natasha Denona color stories. Because the color stories weren't perfect, this would be a very expensive mistake to make, which is why I'm not gonna buy it. Juvia's Place is coming out with a new highlighter, a liquid highlighter, the Nubian Glow highlighter, and this looks really, really stunning. But Juvia's Place is one of those brands that I just really haven't been interested in. They have been coming out with a couple of complexion products in the past few months that I've said, this looks interesting, but nothing has swayed me to really go over to their website and try anything again. It's been a while since I tried some Juvia's Place. But I don't think that this is the brand for me. Everything seems very full glam, and it's just really not where I'm going with my personal makeup aesthetics at the moment, so this may not be quite right for me. The Big Ego palette from Tarte is the next one, and here I'm like, I don't know why. I like the Tartelette palettes from Tarte, but anything else they release, I'm just not feeling it. And I'm not feeling this one either. It's got purples, those I like, but all of those neutrally shades, nah, I can do without it. No can do. More Juvia's Place than the Culture 2 eyeshadow palette. This looks like a fun, bright, colorful palette. I'm sure that if you don't have a lot of colorful shades in your makeup collection just yet, that this may be a good addition. But I have all of these shades, and I don't love really large eyeshadow palettes. And at a first glance, I think this is 30 pans, which is far too big for my liking. So guess what? No can do. More Tarte, their Man-Eater Contour Stick, or it's a bronzer, actually. I mean, I think this can be fun, but I have enough bronzer sticks and cream bronzers at the minute. I really don't need any more. And I don't need it from a brand like Tarte that I can only really buy from Sephora, which is not available in my country, so I have to travel to even try and find this. Fenty Beauty has some new shades out in their Freestyle cream blushes, the cheeks out. Freestyle cream blushes, I should say. There's a couple, like 4 or 5 of these. It's not in the picture, apparently, that I'm showing here, but I have one of these, Strawberry Drip, and I really, really like it. I haven't liked any of the other shades that the brand has on offer, though. Like, this is the only shade that was out there that really stood out to me, so maybe in these new ones, something may be there that I like, but I don't necessarily need another cream bronzer either. I've been really selective in terms of blushes, bronzers, and highlighters this year, because I feel like the things I have, I just like. New shades as well in the Kaleidos, like contour highlighter range that they have. I didn't buy any of these because I'm not that much of a contour and highlighter person. Like I mentioned, I've really been trying to keep it to the pared down rendition that I was left with after my declutter, and not using and not adding too much to it. And these, I don't know why, but these just don't really appeal to me. Maybe it's something about the packaging. I love Kaleidos as a brand. I love their eyeshadow. I really like their multi-chrome eyeliners, but their complexion products just don't really grab me. It's not like, ooh, I need this. I think I mentioned Kimchi Chic last time as well, and this is another one of those brands that I just don't really understand what they actually have in terms of products, because they seem to be releasing things left, right, and center, and there doesn't really seem to be a cohesive whole. I tried a couple of kimchi products in the past, and I did really enjoy the quality. It's quite affordable for what you get. A lot of fun, bright, colorful shades, but I didn't necessarily need to keep it around, which is why I'm like, I've tried this brand, I know it's okay, but this is not going to add anything too differently to my makeup collection, so I know I don't need it. Then Summer Fridays is actually a skincare brand that has started doing makeup, and I've mentioned in the past how I don't like skincare made by makeup companies, but for some reason I am intrigued if it's the other way around. So skincare lines that start doing makeup, I'm like, yep, I'd like to try that. Sunday Fridays, however, Summer Fridays is a bit difficult for me to get. I think they're for sale at Space NK in the UK, and I do have a trip planned to the UK, so if I happen to spot these, I might, but I won't be going out of my way to try and get my hands on these cream blushes. I mean, they look cute, but is it really any differently from anything I already own? Probably not. I just wish I could feel the texture of these to see if I like them. Peri Para has some new eyeshadow palettes that have been announced. The Old Take Mood palettes. These are quite expensive though. They're 37 euros each. I'm not sure if that heart in the middle is also an eyeshadow. Could be. Maybe it's like a cheek thing that goes into it, because we also get some larger pans towards the end. Comes in 2 shades, something that's a bit more pinky and something that's a bit more peachy. I'm in the midst of trying a bunch of K-Beauty eyeshadow palettes, also some Peri Para. I actually tried it this month, and or last month I should say, because we're already in July. But yeah, I did try a Peri Para eyeshadow palette, and I did really like the formula, but I don't think I need these per se. Sigma Beauty has announced a collab with Angela Bright, and this looks pretty. Again, with the warm tones, what's up with the oranges this time around? This just looks like the Cosmos from ABH to me, but with some added shades. It seems like everybody's doing the same thing at the minute. It's like warm tone neutrals with a pop of green, or it's warm tone neutrals with a pop of blue. What's going on? Is it 2016 again? Made by Mitchell has a new bronzer book. I don't need 6 bronzers. I just don't. So I think if you're a makeup artist, this may be great, but it's not quite right for me. Something that does have me very excited is the new shades from the Cloud Paints by Glossier. Glossier has a store in London, so I hope to be able to pick these up when I'm there. The shade Wisp and Soar are the two cooler tone seeming shades that I wish the brand had previously. One of the reasons why I didn't try the Cloud Paint straight away when I first got my hands on Glossier was because none of the shade looked right. And then just because I wanted to do a full face of Glossier, I bought a shade. I think it's called Soar. If I'm not, no, that's one of the new shades. What it's called again? I don't remember, but it's actually one of the deeper shades that I got because it was the only thing with a cooler undertone. And both of these seem to be like a cool lavender pink and like a peachy pink, but with a very strong blue undertone. So I'm very curious to see what these look like in real life, because I did find that a lot of the Glossier products, the way they are swatched online, they look very differently than when you actually spot them in stores. So these I'm gonna have to take a look at, but these are definitely on the wish list if I do manage to find them in London. P. Louise has a new eyeshadow palette, the World of Wonder. Lots of purples and like berry tones, which seems to be their game. Like they do these massive palettes in like one sort of gradient, which is really aesthetically pleasing to look at, but like the Made by Mitchell stuff, I don't need these really big eyeshadow palettes, and I don't need a million purples because this is just too many, and it's another one of those brands that focuses a lot on doing mattes rather than shimmers, and I want a lot of shimmers in my colorful palettes, and these shimmers, we get these really fun, vibrant mattes, and then we get these very muted down shimmers, so I don't really get it. No can do. I think this is a product that a lot of people already mentioned loving, but the e.l.f. makeup line now has a liquid version of the putty primer. And I didn't like the actual putty primer because it made my dry skin even drier. So did I need it in a liquid version? No. Did I like the grip primer from e.l.f.? No. It actually made my skin very irritated because it had a couple of ingredients that my skin didn't agree with. So e.l.f., they do really good products if they work for you and if you're looking for something very affordable, but I personally don't need this. And then I'm super excited to mention that What's Up Beauty has some new brushes out, and they actually sent these to me. So if you're gonna stay tuned for my haul on Friday, then I can show you this plus a couple of other bits they sent me. They contacted me asking me if I wanted to try these, and I was like, yeah, sure. The What's Up Beauty makeup line actually has some excellent brushes. They already sent me a few in the past, and I actually liked them enough that when I decluttered my brushes earlier the year, I actually kept a couple of them around, and they actually have extended their line with a lot of brushes that are great for hooded eyes, actually, so people with less space, that the brushes are good for that. So I was super hyped about that, so I'm glad I got to try them. So I'll let you know a little bit more about those on Friday. And then finally, Essence has actually announced the release of the Pure Nude Baked Blushes for the UK, or like the European Union, it seems, because I only follow the Essence Makeup Instagram that posts stuff for where I live, because they have several accounts, and these now seem to come here, which is great. I did already spot these on Boozy Shop. I still haven't bought one because I haven't had to place an order through there, and it's only a couple of euros, and I don't want to pay for shipping then. So I definitely want to pop this into a cart whenever I want to buy a bit more. I definitely want to try these, but I don't need it anytime soon. Essence is probably going to be re-updating their line again in like August, early September, I think. Like late August, early September, we will get the new Essence line, and I will just pop one into a cart then, because that's when the new products will be around. There's a new color corrector slash concealer from Huda Beauty. I'm not sure, I feel like I mentioned this already, but I think last month it was like a liquid blush thing. Now we're getting liquid correctors, which I think there's only 5 shades. Is that enough for everyone? I can't be sure. I just know that the lighter shade looks a little bit dark, so I don't think I'm gonna try this. Then Moira has a new product out. I'm not sure how new this is because Moira has so many things, but this is their Everlust Shimmer Cream Eyeshadow, and this looks absolutely stunning, and I'm happy to announce that there is a Moira order making its way to me. This brand is now for sale through Boozy Shop here as well, so I can get my hands on it a little bit more easily, but I managed to actually place an order through their official website because they had a much larger offering and many more products on there. I just bought a couple of bits. It's making its way to me, like I said. Not these ones, because most of the shades, I don't know, I love them. So there's a couple that appeal to me, but a lot of them are warm toned. There's only one cool tone, which is a silver, and I just wanted a taupe in this kind of shade range. Like this kind of product, I want a taupe eyeshadow, and it's not there. So that's why I was very selective when I shopped on there, because when I first filled my cards with everything I wanted to get, it got to so much money, and I was like, I don't want to do this to myself. I also need to make sure I have time to actually try things. So I just popped a few things into my cart to try, and then we'll see how I feel. And if I feel and I love it, then I may place another order and maybe get some of these. But yeah, the Moira brand is definitely one I'm going to be trying soon. Cosmic Brushes has a new palette out. What is this called? It doesn't say here. It is the Delicious Delights, and it's pastels with some multi-chromes. It seems to have only 5 shimmers. I love the Cosmic Brushes palette I have their Serenity palette. It's blue, greens, and purples, which is my favorite color story of all time. Here we also get some orange and some yellow that I don't really need, some vibrant pinks and berries, and like, do I really need it? I think overall, this is fun if you want your pastel candy moment, but I have enough of these kind of palettes. It's too rainbowy and just not interesting enough for me personally. Blend Bunny has announced a Sugar and Grunge eyeshadow palette, and they said that this was their like 90s inspiration, and I was like, where's the 90s? Because this has nothing to do with the 90s. We definitely didn't wear those kind of very vibrant colors in the 90s. All you saw in the 90s was brown. It was brown lip liner with a nude lipstick and like a nude eye. That was the 90s, y'all. So I don't know why we get purple and teal and green in here. And I've said this many times before, I wish Blend Bunny would do more shimmers. I know that's not the thing behind the brand. I know what they want is that gradient. I personally don't need that gradient, and the entire row of very deep mattes has been too dark for me in every single Blend Bunny palette I've tried. So that means that like a quarter of this palette I can't use because the shades are too dark. Lethal Cosmetics is coming out with some new eyeshadow. I think it's already out. It's a set of pure metals and a set of multi-chromes. And especially those pure metals, I have to say, those look like I might like them a lot. So they have some holographic things, some very nice metallics, and then of course those multi-chromes. I love the Lethal Cosmetics formula, and I like that they now come out with some different textures than just their mattes and shimmers, because for a very long time their line was just mattes and shimmers and that was it. So I'm happy to see them do that. This is permanent, so I'm in no rush to get it. It's singles. If I buy myself a new Lethal Cosmetics palette in the future, because I might, I tend to do it like once a year. I build myself a Lethal palette and buy that, and then maybe I might just pop some of these in. But at the moment, there isn't enough from Lethal that I want to get my hands on, so it's going to be a few months. Jolie Beauty has the Sirens palette. Is this new? I don't know. I just spotted it at random on my Instagram page, and I was like, that looks fun, because as I mentioned, I love blues, greens, and purples, and this has nothing but blues, greens, and purples. I'm just a bit worried about those shimmers, because those could be glitters. Knowing Jolie Beauty and other pictures I've seen from the brand, instead of shimmers, they do a lot of pressed glitters, which is not my favorite. So if you are more familiar with this brand than I am, and you know a little bit more about this palette, let me know. Is this regular shimmers? Or are they glitters? Because if they are glitters, this is a definite no. If they are shimmers, I might consider it. Then Shroud Cosmetics has announced a new palette, the Peaches and Dreams, which I love the name. I love the shimmers we get in here. I actually like a lot of the mattes in here as well, but I don't like the 2 oranges. I'm just not a fan of orange eyeshadow on myself. Plus, what I have found, Then I have tried a couple of Shroud palettes, is that very often the mattes and shimmers that are closest together are the things that go together, and then it doesn't go with anything else in the palette. And I kind of feel like this here as well. We have a blue matte and a blue shimmer. We have like a golden tone shimmer and an orange shimmer, and then we have the greens that go together. So I don't think this necessarily needs to go into my basket anytime soon. Is it cute? Yes. Is it a good release for the brand? Yes. Is it a good release for me buying it? No. Now, something that definitely made me excited is the new Sky collection from Gloss Gods. These are stunning. We have a blue tone palette, which is the Color of Rain Effect palette, which is just 12 it's 12 multi-chromes. It is expensive though. It retails for 70 euros, I saw. It's a bit much for me. And then we have the Lavender Skies Remix palette, which does have some mattes, and it has some really pretty pastels as well. That I believe goes for the regular retail price of a Gloss Gods palette, which is roughly 40 euros or so, which is a bit more doable. But yeah, I don't know why. That Blue Effects palette, it really, really has my heart. I don't need it though. I really don't, because I have plenty of multi-chromes in my singles collection, but there's just something about this, and I know the Gloss Gods formula, their shimmers, are some of the best I've ever worked with, so this is definitely like calling to me, but at this price point, for what it is, I don't need it. I'm talking myself out of this, as you can tell, so, and I really don't need any more eyeshadow palettes, especially because I was sent one by What's Up Beauty as well, so I've had enough eyeshadow palettes coming in lately that I can like keep my review train rolling, and I don't need this anytime soon. Maybe if this is in like a Black Friday sale later in the year, I might, because it definitely piques my interest, but I don't need it. And then last but not least, Smashbox has a new release. Smashbox! And I just wanted to give it a mention because I haven't heard of anything Smashbox has done in such a long time. I don't know about you, but it's not as if I'm missing them. But Smashbox as a brand actually is no longer available where I live. They used to be for sale at Douglas, but as far as I know, they have been taken off of the EU market completely. Maybe you can still get it in the UK, I don't know. So I don't think I can get my hands on this unless I go to like the US, which is not in the cards for me unless it's like 2 or 3 years down the line. So this is, I think, a good one that Smashbox now has this. Hopefully it can keep the brand afloat, because I don't think Smashbox is a brand that's super popular at the minute. So those were all of the makeup releases I wanted to discuss in today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please remember that if there's anything being announced in the next couple of days between me filming this and me posting this video, that might happen, but I will just be posting those I will just be mentioning those releases in the next video, because I can only do these so many times and keep it interesting for myself and you guys. I know there are tons of creators who do these every single week, but I find that far too overwhelming. And back in the day when I tried to mention every release out there, I just found I found it very draining, and I didn't enjoy it at all. So that's why I try to be a bit more selective. I only talk about the things that stand out to me. And then, as you can tell from this video today, there's still only like 2 or 3 things that I'm really excited about getting. But yeah, this way we can chat about new makeup without having to buy it all. So thank you to Samantha Marsh for having this idea way back in the day. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video today. Let me know in a comment down below what you're excited for. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more by me. I make several videos every single week, 4 in total, and there's another one over on my second channel every Wednesday, just in case you want to check that out. And then I hope to see you in my next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.